Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Bites podcast. Now, for today's episode, I wanted to go through a few lines of the first book of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, because this is where he famously starts his journal by taking stock of all the incredible people who he's had contact with in his life, whether it's his family members like his father and his mother, or even his teachers and people who he's just worked with or come into contact with. And all of these people have affected him in some positive way. They've taught him something about how to be an effective human being and how to live a good life. And I want to read a couple of lines here because this is such a beautiful way of looking at your life, to take stock of all of the incredible people who have impacted you positively in your life. So he starts by saying about his grandfather that he learned character and self-control. From his father, he learned integrity and manliness. From his mother, he says, her reverence for the divine, her generosity, her inability not only to do wrong, but even to conceive of doing it, and the simple way that she lived, not in the least like the rich. He says of his first teacher, he says, not to support this side or that in chariot racing, this fighter in the games, to put up with discomfort and not to make demands, to do my own work, my own business, and to have no time for slanderers. And so what you see that he's doing here is essentially going to all of these beautiful people who have impacted him in his life and saying, what are the lessons that they have taught me? And this is really in line with the overall picture of Stoicism, because they really did teach that we should be deeply interested in what it means to be a human. And what they taught was that human beings are social creatures. You know, we go around in packs, you know, we like to have friends, we like to build connections, and we are all the same species. And so it makes sense that we would work together in order to advance humanity together. And one of the ways that we do that is by setting positive examples for other people, and also by looking up to people and seeing what we can learn from them and trying to become the things that we love to see in other people. And you see this mirrored in our whole society and our whole culture. I mean, you see this in sports, where we really look up to incredible sports figures who not only play the game well, but who have integrity, who have a great character, who play with fairness and justice. You know, we look up to incredible musicians who are able to perfect their art. We look up to people in the public square who essentially, you know, are great examples of how to live a good life by influencing other people in positive ways. So we really are goal-setting creatures, aiming creatures. And one of the ways that we like to aim is to look at people who we respect and to see the qualities that they have that we would like to replicate within ourselves. And I'm not going to read you all of the people who Marcus Aurelius was influenced by, but I'd encourage you to read it, because it really gives you a picture of somebody who is deeply trying to think about how he can take on the habits and the characteristics of the people who he admires. And I've really been meditating about this lately, the idea of respect. You know, when you respect somebody, it seems to be a deeply biological inbuilt response to seeing something that you like about somebody else. But more than that, it's a response that you have within your mind and within your body that says, that's something that if I was like that, my life would be a little bit better. You know, when you really respect somebody, it's because they have qualities that really draw you in. It's because they have qualities that are worthy of emulation. And so I really want you to think about this, and the exercise that I want you to do from today's episode is to go down and take stock, just like Marcus Aurelius did, of all of the beautiful people who you respect in your life. The people who really you admire and would like to be like. And an important thing to note is you don't have to want to be everything that that person is in order to learn from them. So there might be people in your life who you really respect, but there's a few things that they do that you just don't like. Take the things that you like from them and write them down, and leave the rest. That's completely okay. And that's exactly what Marcus Aurelius is doing here. You know, he's essentially going to these people and saying, from this person I learnt this, from that person I learnt that, and making a list of all of these beautiful qualities that he wants to bring out within himself. And so I want you to do the exact same thing. Think of all of the incredible people who have come into your life, whether it's your father, your mother, your friends, your family, community leaders, even people in the public view, anyone who you would like to be like in some way. And think very carefully about the habits, the rituals, the characteristics, the personality that these people inhabit. And think about how it would help your life if you were able to emulate those qualities. And so that's the exercise that I want you to do from today's episode. It's very simple, and it might take you, 45 minutes to an hour. It could take you 3 days for all I care. But, it's really important to sit down and do this because, as I say, we are aiming creatures. We need something to look up to so that we can become better people. And I hope that you do this exercise, and make sure you reach out to me and let me know how you went. And another thing to think about just quickly before I finish the episode is make sure that you come back to this list from time to time and read it so that you can take stock of how far you're progressing with becoming the person who you would like to be. It's really important not only to write it down, but also to make sure that you're acting upon those things that you're writing down. So I hope that you do that. As I said, reach out to me, let me know how you go, and I'd love to hear from you. So on that note, I'll talk to you next time, but I hope that this episode has helped you on the rise to the good life. Ciao. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Bites podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, then please subscribe and make sure you leave a positive review. Also, I'd love to invite you to join our Facebook group. It's called the Practical Stoic Mastermind. There you can get heaps of helpful tips, and you can keep up to date with everything that's happening with the show. Finally, if you'd like some help redefining or moving closer to your ideal life, then head to simonjedrew.com/coaching.